Hello, everyone. Good evening, good morning, good day. I am Tully. Now, most of my videos are really low effort, just jokes. But this one I actually decided I might put a bit of effort into. And so, today, we will be diving, my friend here, Yermania, into the rabbit hole, as I would describe it, of the Pariah family. So, before we start, I'll just say this already. This is an ARG. What's an ARG? Alternate reality game. It's basically something that's meant to look real on the internet, but really it's just for fun, and people want you to figure it out. Basically, like the most famous example I could give right now is Cicada 3301. Now, the internet has had ARGs for a very long time. And when you think of ARGs, you don't think of Roblox as one website that has a ton of them, but there actually are. Now, as we know, on Roblox you can play anything basically. There are rip-offs of popular games on Steam, tycoons, first-person shooters, this. But today, with the game, but today the game we're discussing is called the Pariah Residence. How would I find It's actually pretty lucky that I found it because the game only has 900 visits. I was looking for a different game. I typed in the word Tempest. Now, if we go to Latin, I know, dead language, Tempus Fugit means time flies. And so when you look up Tempest, you get a bunch of games related to time. Now, I found a game about it years ago, and I tried to find it, but unfortunately, I didn't find it. I will say this is an appeal. This is a screenshot from the game. If anyone knows what game this could be, please tell me. I really, really want to play it again. But I found this game instead. If you notice the name, it has nothing to do with Tempest, but Tempest is actually in its description. The description says, "Welcome to the year 1913. A lovely home in the calm woods of Canada found in the town of Lake Tempest. The game was created by the user Quentin Adversity. Uh, and if we go to his Roblox account, we can see a link to a Roblox group called Nomadism, which then further has a link to the YouTube channel with an ARG. I will pass Act 2 now to my friend Germania, and I will be back for Act number 3.
Upon entering the game, we found ourselves outside a large manor by the fictional Lake Tempest located in Canada, as previously stated in the description. The manor's entrance was locked and had a note on the ground next to it, that being an aggressive note written by someone named Quentin. But we managed to find ourselves in after finding another unlocked door somewhere on the side of it. Side note, when we came back to the game, we found out that the door was never actually locked. We kind of just thought it was, but whatever. Anyways, inside we found the boiler room and later made our way through the first floor, finding all kinds of different rooms such as an office, a playroom, a dining room, and a doll room, just to name a few. We also found a fan art gallery, but that's not important. Check that out for yourself. In the office, we managed to find a note on top of a bookshelf, which had the line, "You made me do this," repeated many times with different initials after the words each time. We wrote down the initials and continued on our way, finding a few more notes littered around the manor before eventually going up to the second floor. The second floor is more of the same, with many more rooms in it, although it had way more locked ones than it did open ones. It seemed like we needed a key or some other tool to open the doors, so we decided to continue our way throughout the manor. It's worth noting that on the first floor we found a note written by someone named Cora with no last name attached, who had written about her two children as well. She'll be important to the story later on. On the second floor, however, we found multiple rooms with different names attached to them. One of these doors had the name Cora on them, along with another name, that being Perry. The other names on the doors were Gilbert and Anastasia, Elmer and Margaret. All these people are in the same family, though initially we had trouble finding out how the family tree of the Pariahs went. Eventually, we found a key in Quentin's own room, which led us to opening his old room, in which we found their family tree, which confirmed that Cora and Perry were married and had 6 children: Margaret, Elmer, August, Quentin, Ambrose, and Ada. Perry came from the Davenwood family, another separate family in the lore who, by the way, also have their own game. Meanwhile, Cora came from the Pariah family, which started with Gilbert and Anastasia. In one of the notes, we found out that Quentin had gone insane after grandmother died, who by the family tree we could confirm was Anastasia. We eventually found a key to a wood shop which had a hammer which allowed us to enter Elmer's room, in which we found out that he was the eldest son and had a violin. This is around the time we left the game for the first time, but we joined back a few days later and managed to find a key to the balcony, which so far looks unfinished, except for a weird dialogue line which appears when you walk over an unfinished statue. It's worth mentioning that we have found every key to every locked door, but there are some doors which seem to be boarded up. The rooms haven't been added into the game yet, but they will eventually be added according to the creators. Meaning that in the game, we also found a room that seemed to be related to no one in the family. It was a completely different person. This person was named Rowan, and he had a book called Nomadism in his room. And well, this book, it's very interesting because the owner of the game is in a group called Nomadism. So we can only assume that this book has something to do with it.
Hello, everyone. It's me, Tully, again. I'm here to record Act number 3. Now, I will admit, I am recording this quite a while after Act 2, so I might have forgotten a few details, but we persevere. Now, I will change the format of this video here. I'll do it in Paint, because it is quite a complicated story, and I think it's just more fun if we try and understand it this way. And so, let's begin. What happened in this game? Well, let's go over what we know. So we have the Pariah Residence. It's this massive manor. It is situated in Lake Tempest. And Lake Tempest is situated in Canada. I believe it was Upper Canada or like Ontario or something. It doesn't matter. Given the name Pariah, we can assume that the pariahs live in it. And these right here are the pariahs. That's a bad circle, hold on. Oh my god. There we go. The pariahs live here. The manor is described as being sad, but luxurious and cozy. This is where we got our first question. Are they still there? Yeah, I have no idea. The thing is, in every single piece of media related to the Pariah Residence, we only see Quentin. I think this one's him. I think that's Quentin. We only see Quentin. And we find notes, obviously, from all of the family members, but we never see them. Even in the Davenwood estate, as you mentioned earlier, that game exists. We don't see anyone. And so, this is one of the main questions that me and Yerm have is like, who actually lives here? My guess, as I will go into my final theory later, our main character is Quentin Pariah. And he's a pretty interesting one at that. To understand Quentin, we're gonna need to go through his family tree, which we all love family trees. And so, let's begin. And we begin in 1853. We have Gilbert Pariah and Anastasia Pariah. They are Quentin's grandparents. They married in 1853. We know that because there is a photo from their marriage in the dining room, dated 1853. It's another photo, though, of Archie and Violet D. What's D stand for? Well, we see the full family tree here. You can find it in Quentin's old room. They're the Davenwoods. They married in 1872. The Pariahs would give birth to a son, Perry, Quentin's father, and Perry would marry Cora, Archie and Violet's daughter and sister of Delia. They would marry in, I'm actually not sure. I don't know if it's mentioned anywhere, maybe I just don't remember. But they gave birth to 6 kids, which is quite a lot. Going from eldest to youngest, we have Margaret, Elmer, August, Quentin, Ada, and Ambrose, the latter of which are twins. Let's go back to the house now. This one here. Who owns it? Because we still don't know the answer. Well, if we read some notes and if we watch one of the videos on the Nomadism channel, Quenny is pretty adamant that the house is his. He always states, it's my house, I govern here, stuff like that. But let's be honest, when someone speaks in a tone, in that possessive tone about something, how sure can we be that it's really theirs? Usually when people are extremely adamant something is theirs, they're lying to you. And I think that Quentin is lying to us. I don't think he's the most trustworthy of people, so this wouldn't be surprising. Because let's be honest, when you're talking about your house, who says this house is mine and mine alone? It's a quote by Quentin. Now, there's a lot of stuff going on this side, we'll go over that. This is the home of the Pariahs. And the what do we call him? Head of a family is Gilbert, right? Quentin's grandfather. Now, I'm assuming that he either built the house or bought the house, something. I'm pretty sure he was the first pariah to live here. So the house is naturally his. Gilbert married in 1853. We know he was alive in 1894. But it's 1913 now. I'd be impressed if he was still kicking. So let's assume that he has died. Now I know. I don't think he's actually dead. Because if we go into the badges of the game, we'll notice that only one of them has a red hue around it, and that is his wife, Anastasia. So I think Gilbert's actually alive. But let's just gleam over that for a second. Who would the house go to now? His son, obviously, Perry, Quentin's father. So now Perry owns the residence. We don't know when he was born. We don't know where he married, so I don't know how old he is. But I really doubt that he would die of natural causes before 1913. Let's say Perry dies in a accident. I don't know, maybe he was a lumberjack, maybe he was in a hunting accident or something. Who would the house go to now? Well, time for a little history lesson. In 1913, Canada was still governed by the United Kingdom, and British common law was the common law. British common law states that if the head of the household passes away and has no will written and doesn't give the house under jurisdiction of anyone, inheritance law would dictate that it would not go to Cora, it would not go to Margaret, his eldest daughter, it would go to his eldest son, Elmer. I think you'll see the problem here. Quentin's nowhere near inheriting the house. I mean, even if Elmer somehow died, it would go to August. And then if August died, it would go to Quentin. That is extremely unlikely, all of this to happen before 1913. So what are the chances that Quentin is genuinely the owner of this house? I really think they're slim. We also haven't seen anything that implies that any of these members have died. So I really, really question the validity of the statement that he is the owner of the house. A new character joins the fray now. This guy. This is Merritt Gray. Now, who is Merritt Gray? Because this is a pretty random name, I know. We can watch a video made by Merritt on the Nomadism channel where he talks about a job listing. Listing that he got for being an investigative journalist. Now, it was from an unnamed news company. He received a letter from them as they knew that he was really good when it came to cameras. In the video, he talked about an experimental camera they made that would like do something extraordinary. I don't remember what. Now, there's things I find interesting in this. This is how he describes the man who gave him the letter. There was this newspaper boy with long black hair and a scar across his nose. Now, what does Quentin wear? Well, okay, maybe Quentin doesn't have long black hair, but he could have cut it. So black hair, I would say he does. A scar across his face. Whenever we see Quentin, he has a bandage over his face. So that might have something to do with that. The other thing that he said was that something looked so off-putting about the grin he gave me. If you look at the thumbnail of the Pariah Residence, all of them have extremely, extremely weird grins, including Quentin. Now, Merritt claims that he, as I was saying earlier, he claims that he made a camera that could do something extraordinary. Now, he never discloses to anyone, yet somehow the newspaper company knew about it, which is pretty unnerving. I think, personally, that the man who gave him the job listing was Quentin, and that the newspaper company that he apparently works for, that Merritt works for now, is also made by Quentin. His acquaintance, Sloan, at the start of the first episode on the No Medicine channel, never mentions what news company they're actually working for, they're broadcasting for. It's usually the first thing that news companies do. So Quentin may have made this fake company to lure the journalists into his home where he would kill them. If you remember earlier, I mentioned that there was a list, or was it a year? I don't remember. One of us mentioned that there was a list with a bunch of names, and you made me do this on each one. I think that those are the names of every single journalist that Quentin had brought to the residence and killed. Now, we don't have evidence for that, but we have found a few notes, and most of the initials match. So now it's time for my final theory as what I think happened here. So, we are sent to investigate the Pariah residence in 1913. The only person that we meet is Quentin Pariah. Now, we don't actually meet him, but let's just say we do. We don't see any other member of his family. We don't know what happened to them. They were most likely just kicked out by Quentin. The house is not Quentin's, in my opinion. There's no way. As I was talking about British common law earlier, we deduced that he would be fourth in line, and that was if extraordinary circumstances would occur. So it is not his. The adamants that he shows on the house being his also does not back him up. Three investigative journalists are sent to Quentin's home: Sloan, Merritt, and Skylan. The only one that really matters right now is Merritt, as he is a genius in photography. He made some sort of invention that was extraordinary in some sort. They're hired by the same news company, which I believe was fake and created by Quentin in order to lure people to his home in order to kill them. Maybe not people, but investigative journalists that continue to pester him. We know Quentin's mental state is not in a good place after the death of his grandmother due to a note by Margaret. So I think that Quentin is just a serial killer now that invites investigative journalists and he goes crazy as we see the notes written around. And the cool thing about the notes is that they're actually written in a cipher, which when I cracked, just had some weird messages in it, which I think is not, which I think is written by him, not the ghosts of the victims. So I thank you very much for watching, if you have. And if the creators of the Pariah Residence are actually watching this, if I somehow get it to them, I really, really enjoy your game. Both of us do, genuinely. It's really, really fun to walk through it and try and figure out what actually happened. So I urge you, please continue updating it because I'm really, really curious as to what happened. And maybe if Quentin is watching,